This is what happens when a man meets his soul love. Man's world and man's heart in turmoil. Love is a just thing. It distributes its favors equally between men and women. No one is left out. Even if the descendants of Mars and Venus certainly love differently and may not let themselves be in love to the same extent, once Cupid's arrow has hit the bullseye, no stone is left unturned in either world. Men are also amazed when they meet their soulmates. Many things that always seemed impossible, or at least unthinkable, then become beautiful reality. The male universe undoubtedly gets out of joint, but that doesn't necessarily have to be bad for its inhabitants. What exactly happens when a man meets his kindred spirit? We show you here. Number 1. His trust in himself and others strengthens. A man who is allowed to recognize that there is a matching lid for his pot will spontaneously have fewer trust problems with life and the people in it. This living proof that fate means well with us contributes enormously to the fact that one's own abilities are again more competent. At the same time, the acquaintance with soul love also leads to a stronger belief in humanity. Number 2, he becomes more open to new things. Soul love is rarely met in one's comfort zone. It is therefore only natural that men become more daring and curious when the step forward has brought them their life man. Many would then like to know what there is still for them to discover behind the known and proven plate edge. Love makes you brave, and meeting your soulmate turns many a couch potato into a radiant superhero. Number 3, someone else suddenly becomes first. Especially men who go through life as confirmed bachelors and convinced long-term singles have a hard time with the idea of scaling back their own life for another person. However, these complicated trains of thought are history in one fell swoop. When the right woman stands in front of them, men know intuitively, as all men do, that this one person is their destiny. Number 4, the feeling of safety and security surrounds him. Men also love a safe harbor, even if they like to stand their ground in the storm and throw around sailors' yarns. Hardly any man prefers uncertainty to security. When a man meets his soulmate, he has arrived at his destination and feels, perhaps even for the first time in his life, security and acceptance. Number 5, the meaning of compromise becomes clear to him. True love makes men perform at their best when it comes to compromise. If it would have been unthinkable in earlier relationships to cut back on work, sports, or evenings with the buddies, this is no longer an issue. Anyone who really wants to enter into and maintain a relationship will find a way to do it justice by all the rules of the art. Number 6, he is optimistic about the future. The rose-colored glasses of being in love may not show up in men quite as distinctly as in women, but they are there. The present and the future are no longer abstract, scary chores, but shine in a bright light. Love gives us wings. Men also benefit from this upswing and enjoy being suddenly filled with joy and optimism. Number 7, all his relationships benefit from it. Soul love always brings out the best in us. If men enter into this, it has a positive effect on all their other relationships. Family and friends, workplace, or children from previous partnerships notice the difference immediately. This man, it seems, has recognized the value of interpersonal relationships and is now doing everything he can to make the best out of every interaction. Number 8, his life shows him completely new perspectives. What once seemed impossible is now only a matter of will. The unimagined powers that twin souls can release in their partners often have a magical effect. Once men have finally reached their goal, they are presented with an ocean of possibilities. The restless ones want to settle down. The chronic couch potatoes are in the mood for adventure. It almost seems as if they had slept through their lives until now and have now finally awakened, thanks to their soul love. Number 9, he looks forward to joint activities. When men enter into relationships, it does not automatically mean that their partners will actually be involved in their lives. Often, they even strictly separate one from the other. Soul love takes on a completely different status here from the outset. All plans are made for two people from now on, and there is no longer any decision that is made single-handedly. Number 10. He finally lets go of old emotional burdens. Men also struggle with feelings that are difficult to get rid of. Hurts and disappointments from previous relationships weigh just as heavily on their shoulders as deficits from childhood and youth. The beauty of our soulmates, however, is that they can compensate for all the pain and all that has been missed in the blink of an eye. Everything will be fine from the moment they enter our lives. Number 11. He no longer considers anything impossible. When men, who by nature are supposed to be the rational and pragmatic ones under the firmament, start believing in miracles, a real love of soul must have its finger in the pie. Filled with an unprecedented euphoria, coupled with absolute certainty, even the cool and aloof find themselves confronted with the fact that life itself is probably the greatest miracle of all. Number 12. He feels the desire to settle down. Generally, men may still be at the hunter-gatherer stage. Very few are innately called to settle down to one wife and the raising of a family. Responsibility acts as a deterrent, but so does the prospect of denying oneself all other possibilities with a commitment. However, when a man meets the one and only, there is nothing more important to him than to start the rest of his life with her as soon as possible. Number 13. He wants to become the best version of himself. Men in love generally feel very strongly the desire to want to impress their beloved. The ways they go about it can be very different. However, if the twin soul is at the door, there is no stopping the unconditional desire for personal growth. Number 14. His priorities change. Men never change everyday life and personal lifestyle lightly. They're too focused on their goals, and these do not always preferentially have private life in mind. With soul love, this changes abruptly. This one person becomes the top priority. Everything else has to wait from now on. Prove that it is love. Men may love differently than women. Nevertheless, they do. By their behavior, we can clearly see how serious they are about a relationship. If they don't lift a finger for their new flame, this flash in the pan will quickly be extinguished. If, on the other hand, they move heaven and hell to give the new love a chance, serious intentions are involved. We women should therefore take a close look at the commitment shown by a man who pretends to want to be with us. If he puts his foot down and makes us the causa prima in his life, the stars are favorable.